Hi, I'm Mike, and I want to give you guys some tips about CELPIP speaking. It's a challenge for a lot of people. There's a lot of questions, and there's different ways that they're going to be evaluating you. So you want to understand that so that you can score high on your next CELPIP test. So let's begin with a little lesson here. Now, CELPIP has 8 questions in total. Notice the time for each one. You're going to get 90 seconds in question 1, and then to talk, to respond, 60 for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 90 again in question 7, and then 60 in question 8. So what you have to be aware of is that first question, you're going to have 30 more seconds than usual to talk, and you have to fill in that time, okay? 60 seconds generally not a hard or amount of time to talk for, but 90 can be a challenge for some people to have extra things to talk about, so you have to be ready for that. Now, just some tips as you're doing your real test. You're going to be in the test center with other people, and it's easy to be distracted, and it's easy to be stressed and thinking about a lot of things. So take yourself out of the test center for a moment and imagine a real person in your life and talk about real situations that have happened to you. They'll just provide you with more details and make you kind of speak more naturally. Okay? You do get a bit of time to prepare, so take some notes with your pen. Then if you forget, you'll have something to follow. Um, there is a category for your evaluation about your tone. So you want to use the right tone, the appropriate tone for the situation. If you have to talk to your boss or your neighbor, you might change your English a little bit. And importantly, you don't want to talk like flat or a computer or have the same answer for every answer, every question. So think about who you're talking to, imagine your friend, and a natural tone will just naturally come out. Okay, and then my final tip is be prepared, know every question, how they're going to be scored, and what you are going to do. Okay, now we talked about this one already. Let's talk about how you're going to be scored, the evaluation here, okay? Now, for most people, I would say your English involves your vocabulary and your listenability. And what is your listenability? Well, that's your pronunciation, your rhythm or fluency, and your grammar. So if you're going to do the CELPIP test, soon or in a few months, there's not a lot we can do to improve your English, your vocabulary, and your listenability. Okay, so it is what it is. Hopefully, you're going to be scoring an 8 or a 9 in this area. Okay, but you have to score high in the other areas as well. Now, the first category we have here is content and coherence, and that means your ideas and how they're organized. So if you speak clearly but with only one limited idea, no to only one example, it's going to be very limited and score 6 or low. Now let's compare a 9. If you provide many ideas and they're well organized with transition words like first, in addition, third, or finally, and you have very specific examples. You do those things, you will score high. Okay, now with your vocabulary, even if it's limited, what I would encourage you to do is try to use a range of words. Try to say the same thing in different ways, especially words from the question. Don't just copy them or say the same thing. Rephrase them. Use different words or synonyms if you can. Okay, with your pronunciation, grammar, fluency, there's little things you could do to improve that, of course, but don't worry about that so much on test day, okay? Instead, focus on this last part, which seems so simple, but this is where many people go wrong. Completely address the task, okay? Now, that means number one, that you focus on the question. You don't change topics or answer something differently. Sometimes people are in a hurry reading and they don't quite clearly understand the question. So take your time to, number one, understand what are they asking me? What's the situation? Okay, because if you get it a bit off, you're going to lose a score there. And secondly, make sure you answer all parts. So if they ask you 3 things in question 2 about your personal experience, like what did you do? What did you learn? how did you feel? You have to be sure to answer all parts. So even if you speak relatively perfectly, but you didn't answer that last question about how you felt, you're not going to score high. Okay, so those are the key things you need to remember when you're doing your CELPIP test. Okay, of course, practice is always the best thing. You got practice tests on the website. I also have many practice tests on the website I use for my tests, so feel free to join me for a class and I can help you prepare. Okay, good luck, everybody.